would. There we go, we're live. Hi, welcome to Christmas cake decorating. I'm Michelle Wilding from Boozy Bakers. This is Erin, my daughter. Now you helped make the Christmas cake, didn't you? Yeah. So it's only fitting that Erin also decorates it. So we'll hang on for everyone to log on and find us. But if you're with us, do feel free to say hi. We can see your comments on our page and we'll say hello back. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Where are you all from today? Hopefully, I'll angle the camera down if needs be, but we've got the big fruit cake there that we made earlier. Was it November or October? We made it on Virtual Village Hall. So if you're thinking, I haven't made my Christmas cake, I'm really not very on this, you still have time. You can still go back, watch the fruitcake video, and then you can come and decorate it tomorrow. So hi Irene, hi Catherine. Nice to have you with us. So this smells delicious. You're not a massive fan of fruitcake, are you? But I'm excited.
Cherries or sultanas.
So to take part, you will need your cake of whatever size you've made. If it was with us, you've probably made an 8-inch, but it doesn't matter what size it is. And you will need a rolling pin, some kind of brush. Hi, Yvonne. And a knife. Hi, Jackie. And then to decorate, you're going to want some marzipan. I've recommended 900 grams, which is about 2 packs of the ready rolled ones, and about the same, if not a little bit more, like a kilo of fondant. Now, I've said we'll make a snowman. So we've got some extra colourful fondants to do our decorations. But you can decorate however you like. If all you take from this is basically how to cover a cake, then great. The other thing you will need, which I've left in the oven, is some apricot jam. Now mine was a little bit stodgy, so I've just heated it up a bit in the oven. But you can use just ordinary conserve is thinner, so that's excellent if you've got that. If you don't have that, anything sticky, so jam, raspberry jam, strawberry jam, probably just use honey or syrup. Yes, Erin.
At the end, take photos.
Oh yeah, take photos and send them into Virtual Village Hall. Let me just get the jam out before I turn it into something that I don't want. There we go. So I've used the warm oven. Yeah, it's not actually that hot. So I've just got a bit of apricot jam in there. Right. So we've got a few people with us. There we go. Okay. And the other thing you're going to need is something to put your cake on. So we've got these drums, but you can just use a dinner plate or a charger plate, something like that, you know, a serving one, anything you can find. Can you use marmalade, Jack? Yes, you can. Yeah, that's fine. In fact, that's a really nice choice because if you've used some mixed fruit, you'll have some orange candy pieces in that anyway. Right, first things first. I want to put the cake onto your board. Now, I tend to tip these. I mean, it's actually quite flat, if you can see. But if you've got a domed amount, they're quite hard sometimes to chop off. You can try, but I'll take the extra bit of, what do you call that? Paper, parchment paper off the bottom. Yeah. They are quite heavy. You shouldn't need to put anything down on the board, but you can just use a bit of your conserve or jam or marmalade and just put a little bit on the board or your plate just to help it, well, stop moving around really. And then, so you've got your cake turned around and then you can place that. So the bottom of the cake is now at the top of your cake. Did you want to lift it on? Go on then. It's heavy, isn't it? That's it. Place it on. Brilliant. Lovely. Really well done. So you've got a nice flat top to work with rather than anything domed. It's nice and even. So that's perfect for what you want. Do you want to lift that up as well, Erin? Yeah. It's a bit hard. There's a thin board, isn't it, that we put it on? There you go.
It's nice and flat.
Now, to cover, we're going to start with a marzipan. Now, you can get golden or white marzipan. It doesn't really matter what you use. Now, if your hands are warm or anything like that, you might find it gets a bit sticky. You can roll it out either on a board. You do that one, I'll do the other one. You can roll it out on a board or if you've got icing sugar, or preferably if you've got corn flour, that's really good to roll it out on to stop it sticking. But I've also got boards that you can just roll out, or parchment paper, and it doesn't stick to that. So get rooting around your kitchen and find something just so it doesn't stick to your worktop. I'll say it again. I use corn flour. It is hard. Hang on, you need another one. I use corn flour, but you can use icing sugar or a non-stick surface like parchment paper or a non-stick board. There you go, Erin. Got 2 lots there. And what you want to do is, hang on, let's put some down. Roll it out to make a big circle. I tend to go about 40-45 centimetres. So just a bit of a tip. If you measure the top of your cake, which I think, goodness me, is it 20 centimetres across for an 8-inch? Well, it's definitely 8 inches, and then measure up the sides. You're about just under the 40 centimetre mark. So, Erin, why don't you roll up your sleeves, darling? Or you roll up your sleeves. So you've got about 40 centimetres. Now, if your marzipan or fondant, there we go. If your marzipan or fondant is exactly the same size as your cake, what you'll find is if you imagine like a tablecloth going over a table, you get those kind of frilly edges as it goes around, and then you've got to try and smooth that out. So if you go a bit bigger, if you add another 10 centimetres on or so, or even 5 centimetres, that, we call it a skirt. That skirt will be bigger, and then you've got a flat surface to use around your cake. I will show you when we get to that point. The other thing, hang on, Erin, can I just help you with this? If you just make sure that your surface, it never sticks to your surface, and you can always move your marzipan around so you get a nice circular shape. The other thing, if your cake is particularly domed and when you've put it on your board or your plate, you've got gaps, you can use some of the marzipan and roll it and stick it into those gaps. So you've got a nice clear surface. So Erin, I'm just going to borrow a bit just to show them. So if I had a gap, you could just roll little sausages. Might need thinner. And if you see a gap anywhere, you can just stick it in and press it in so you've got a nice flat surface going down. This isn't actually that bad. It's the flattest cake I think I've ever made. So I'll give that back to you. There you go. Now, I like using marzipan. It's that it acts as a barrier between the fondant and the cake so you don't get any discolouring on your fondant. Do you want me to do some? Yeah. And the other good thing is if you've never decorated a cake before, you can make all your mistakes on the marzipan and no one will ever see it. It's a bit like, I always think it's like a pie case, that if it's going to have like a filling in, no one's going to see the sides, are they? So if you need to press things in and stick a bit more to it, it doesn't matter. So if you end up with a crack or anything like that, don't worry. We can just make amends, patch it up. And then you've got all your practice before you do the fondant on top. In terms of thickness, I don't like too much marzipan and icing. I like it relatively thin. Do you like marzipan?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Have you not?
I don't think so.
Try a bit of that. It's almondy. Do you like that? No. So it's a Yule log for you, isn't it?
I don't like that many Christmas puddings.
You don't. Luckily, we do. And your brother's really got into dried fruit at the moment, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We'll have to try him with mince pies now. We've got him onto scones. So if you're doing this today with us, if you have any questions or you're unsure of anything that we might not have answered, do let me know. I'm happy to answer anything you like. And if you're not doing it and you're finding this is a really nice one to do with the kids, you're looking a little bit bored of this bit.
I'm not.
But I'm imagining you're looking forward to doing all the decorating the face bit. Yeah. So your antlers are distracting. They're fun though. Right. So Erin, do you want to go and find a tape measure? I don't like marzipan. Could you use something different? Just trying to think. You want something. I haven't actually thought about that, to be honest. I don't know with the royal icing whether you put that straight on. You know, when you do your egg and your egg and icing sugar. I'm not sure that just goes straight onto a cake rather than adding the marzipan first. So it might be worth looking at that. You probably could get some alternatives. If anyone's got some alternatives, my brain's gone blank. I can't think of one. Do let us know. I was thinking about like a ganache or something, but then you don't really want to mess around with chocolate ganache and fruit cake. Yeah, hints and tips, guys. Can anyone think of an alternative to marzipan? Otherwise, I suppose you could just go straight for fondant, but in that case, if I would do it at last minute, so that the colour seeping through may not matter so much to you. Right, where are we at, Erin?
Measure.
Go on then. What have we got there? That's just under 40. And that way? 40. And let's measure the cake. Yeah, we've got 20 and 7. So both sides are 7, so that's 14. So 34. So that would definitely cover the cake. I still think it's a bit thick. So I'm going to just spread it out a bit more. Now, to get this onto the cake, you need to make sure your cake is sticky. So once I've done this, I'm going to roll it onto my rolling pin, and then we're going to make the cake sticky with the apricot conserve, the jam. Yeah? And then this can stick on. When it comes to sticking your fondant on, you can just use a little bit of water between the two layers. But for the cake to the marzipan, you want something a bit stickier. There we go. That's about right. Just, you don't like too much fondant. Just stand up and make sure that's...
You have too much then.
Too much fondant and too much marzipan is a bit too sweet for me.
And then you'll feel a bit ill.
So I've rolled that onto my rolling pin. I'll show you how to do that again. I'll just move this down so you can see. So we've got just rolling it up onto the rolling pin, and that will give me a second just to do the cake. I bring the cake forwards, and you just want to go around the sides like so, and on the top, and just give it a bit of a coating. Okay, you going to do that for me? There we go. And then we'll turn the cake so you're not having to do the hard work. We'll make the cake do it. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I used a cherry jam last year. I tend to use whatever I've got in the cupboards. In fact, one year we were moving. Afternoon, Donna. One year we were moving, and the Christmas cake, because we moved it about Christmas time, the Christmas cake was whatever was left in the pantry. So whatever nuts or fruits, whatever it was, we had all sorts in it that year. I just said chuck it in the Christmas cake rather than take it with us. It was a very nice Christmas cake. Shall I move this around? There you go. Get some over here. Could you use a buttercream? I suppose you could. I don't know how much it absorbs from the cake, but I would imagine you'd be all right with a buttercream, actually. Yeah, I suppose you've got the fat in there to act as a barrier. You have to try it and let me know. But yes, possibly a buttercream would do the trick. You are adding just a different flavour, aren't you? But I suppose if it's only like almonds, a different flavour. But it's just not going to set in the same way. You might find it absorbs into the cake. But I think it would work. I do think it would work the more I think about it. How are we doing, Erin? We good? That looks pretty coated. Maybe just a little bit more there. Mm-hmm. Take any big bits of jam. There. Did I not? Did I rush you? Mm-hmm. There we go. You're a good little helper, you are. Right, I'm just going to take the bits of jam away.
I should be Santa's elf.
You should be Santa's elf. Should be good. Right, and then with your cake in front of you, you want to be able, I'll do this slowly and I'll do it to the side so you can see. You want, oh, don't tell me it's stuck together. Oh no, that'll be embarrassing, won't it? It has as well. Hang on.
Problems do happen.
Problems do happen. Hang on. There's only a little bit. I might just put a little bit of corn flour so it rolls back up again. Sorry, Erin. There we go. Roll that back up. Right. So, second attempt.
Make sure it doesn't stick.
So, with your marzipan, I've got it hanging off the rolling pin so it touches the worktop. So I know I've got the right length, and I'm just eyeing it up and making sure that there's the same amount this side to this side, so the cake's in the central, basically. And then I'm gently going to roll my marzipan across the cake, like so, till it flops on the other side. And then, hang on, what I do is smooth the top, so you've got no air bubbles on the top, and then go around the edges. With fondant and marzipan, if anywhere's going to crack, it's where that weight is pulling, the weight of the marzipan or the fondant is pulling down from that top edge. So just stick that top edge down, and go around with your hands, and just...
Don't pull down on it.
No, don't pull down on it.
Otherwise,
the other thing you can do is actually push up with your hands and pinch it to the top. Now, Erin has a tool. You remember I said about that skirt? Can you see here? You've got this kind of area that it's poking out, whereas here, because we've got more length, I'll do that again. Here, because we've got more length, it's quite smooth to be able to bring that in. So if you've got a skirt like this, just widen it out and press down. And just gradually widen it out and press down. It will go. There we go. We've got another... Hello, thank you so much for this session. Really needed these tips. Excellent, good. We like giving tips. Now, Erin's got a tool that you can use to smooth out your cake if you happen to have that.
Can't you have them in different sizes just with a flat edge?
You can have all sorts depending on who's made it, but you won't want to do that until you've got your cake completely roughly smoothed out. And you don't need them, you can use your hands. Now, did you remember I said if you have remember it's stuck to the rolling pin? I've got a bit of a gaping hole there. So all you need to do is just press it together again. No one sees this bit.
No one.
No one. It's our secret.
You won't expect.
There we go. So I'm just going to push that together. It's ever so soft, and just work out these skirts and just. But if you do struggle with the skirts, you think, oh, whenever I do a cake, I always end up with it gathered. Make your. I know it's a bit more fondant or a bit more marzipan, but if you make it just that bit bigger, you won't struggle so much.
I like this tool because I know that it definitely makes it.
You like it all flat and smooth. Hang on, sweetheart. Let me just check these edges first. I'm going to go round with my hands because not everyone has the tools, so it's nice to see them. But if you don't, look, just with your hands, just giving that a nice. And all I'm doing is, as it's kind of getting more secure, I'm going to press down a bit and give it a bit of an edge so that we can. There we go. So I'm pressing downwards, and then I can cut. Now I always cut around, leaving a millimetre or two more than I need because. Especially on fondant, it tends to spring back up a bit and you end up with a gap.
The only thing which you shouldn't do is pull down.
Yeah.
Slightly just push it a bit up and around.
Yeah.
Never pull down.
And then it doesn't tear
Otherwise,
so much, does it?
Will ruin your...
So I'm just going round with a knife, leaving a couple of millimetres at the base, just so that it can settle itself. If it wants to bounce up a bit, it doesn't matter. So just finish that off, and then I'll let Erin have a smooth down moment because I can feel her need to use a tool. There we go. And then I can take all the extra bits off.
And then if you have a tool, well, if you don't, then you can use your hands. But if you do, then
there you go. You use it. With your leftover marzipan. You can keep this, store it, put some cling film around it. You can make those sweets, can't you? You can dip them in dark chocolates and things. So you have a bit of a play around with the extra marzipan. There we go. Put that to one side for a minute. How are you doing? Yeah, so that hole that we've got, it is covered now, so it'll be fine. So you can just go around it, like so. Is that good?
Remember, you can use your hands and just.
Yeah, well, your hands are pretty good with fondant and marzipan because it softens it. So you're able to do quite a good job just with that. And all I'm using this for, really, is to get any of the lumps at the bottom out. There we go. If you want to do a retrim, you can. But otherwise, that looks like a nice cake.
And you can have these in any shapes, but only if it has a flat side. So then you can just do this.
Right, now, if you are going, gosh, you know what, I've got to go and do another errand or something, I've got presents to wrap, or, someone's popped round, then you can leave your cake like this to dry out for a bit and come back to the rest of it. Okay, Erin, I'm going to push that aside. I'm going to push that aside as well before we get in a mess. But you can go on and do your fondant. So I'm going to, again, put a bit of the corn flour down, just to stop it sticking. And then we are going to get some fondant. Now I've got some white fondant. It's your cake. Have a look around. If you don't want to make a snowman or you have a different colour, put whatever colour you want on it. If you've got cutters of holly, or maybe you'd like to make your own holly, you can do all that. I would like to see the variety that we get, because even if everyone's doing snowmen, they'll all look different, and that makes it fun. So did we. To the tips. I do like a good tip. What was I thinking? So remember, we're going to need some water between the marzipan and the fondant. So we will do that before we stick it on. This is a bit hard as well, Erin.
But remember, at the end, send us some photos because I want to see.
You're going to have a look at them all, are you? Send them into
Virtual
Virtual Village Hall and see what they look like. Nice festive thing to see, isn't it? Loads of Christmas cakes. Jolly Christmas cakes. Now, we did give you a list. So if you've got little ones in the house with you, we did give you a list of how you could decorate your snowman, the nose, the mouth, the eyes. Now, you can use all fondant if you have lots of that. But if you don't, you could use all sorts. You could do a mouth of cherries or sultanas. You could do an apricot, a dried apricot for the nose. You could do ribbon instead of a scarf. We might do that, actually, I was thinking.
Yeah.
But you have to go and have a look for some nice ribbon. And
you could even do like a reindeer or a Santa instead.
You could. Yeah, you could. You could do a red hat with a white trim and a bit of a beard, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
Or an elf.
Or an elf, yeah. So have a look, see what you think. We've made some toppers like that, haven't we, recently?
Yeah.
But I do like a snowman one. I think it's just a very round cake, but oh goodness, I'm going to have to stand up because that's actually really quite. Bear with me. Let me just get this going.
It looks a good way of doing it.
It is a bit. You might need to knead it for a minute. Go on, you have a go. I'm getting covered in corn flour. It looks like it's been snowing on my jeans. You're going to stand up. It is easier to stand up rather than sit down, I've got to say. You've got veins popping out your head. Oh, it's getting serious now. You are right. Be careful that you don't put all the pressure on the end. So this is with anything that you do with a rolling pin, especially if you're making pastry or something that's softer. What people tend to do is, hang on, Erin, can I show them? Yep. You tend to start off from this side. I'll kneel down. Oh, bend down. You start off from this side where you've got no weight, and then people put all their weight on the far end, and then it goes really thin. Yeah. So try to do even weight. I'm planning on making royal icing for mine. Nice, Heather. I do like that, and I like you can go spiky, like it's all been snowing and things with royal icing. I quite like that. We've done all sorts before. We've done robins, and we used Cadbury's flakes for logs that they were sitting on. That was nice. We've done a Santa on top with various sweets. I've bought some cutters for something else. I think it was a wedding cake, and they wanted a wintry scene, and I've got some Christmas trees, so we could do that around the edge of one, couldn't we? There we go. So I don't know how organised everyone else is. We've managed to actually wrap some presents last night, which was a nice feeling. The Christmas cards have gone out.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of decorating Christmas cakes now for orders this Christmas.
5 days till Christmas.
And of course, kids off from school now. So doing fun things with you guys, aren't we?
Yeah.
There we go. Shall I have another go? See if we can get it. If you find that like ours is quite hard, you get cracks in the sides, just bring it back together into a more circle shape and get going again. I probably should have kneaded this. It is really quite tough. I'm not quite sure why.
It's better to stand up.
Look at that. It needs a bit of work on that.
Don't try and sit down with it. It's quite hard.
Oh, theirs might not be. They might have lovely fondant that behaves itself. This is, I think I probably should have.
But it will help if you stand up.
It does help.
Oh, brilliant idea with Cadbury's flakes. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, do. It's really fun. So you can make some little robins and then perch them on a stack of Cadbury's flake logs. Yeah. And then, of course, Cadbury's flakes notoriously break, don't they? So then you have to eat all the bits that just don't look good as a log. So do buy extra just in case you have those moments. Right. So we've got quality control from Anmar, haven't we, on the Maltesers? Because if they don't look quite right to go on a cake, they get eaten by Anmar, don't they?
Yeah, even though I wanted that job.
There we go. It is getting there. I do think I probably just needed to give it a really good knead before I started, but hey-ho, we'll get there. Is anyone else doing anything different with their cake? Oh, it's just... There we go. Just make sure it's not... Well, I do quite like to put fondant between two pieces of parchment and roll it out because it just doesn't stick to anything. It's quite a nice way of keeping it. Sandwich it between the two. I've got a little bit there that I don't want in.
Be aware of the little things.
Little things. Are you trying to measure, are you?
Yes.
Okay, it's far too thick at the moment. I wouldn't want that much on, but we are getting it bigger.
What's the size again between?
So I would go about 45 to 50 for ease, and we're at 35, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll get there.
Remember to measure it, otherwise you might have like small.
Well, you might be able to eyeball it because you can see the size of your cake, and you know it's got to go down the sides. Get these little specks in it. There we go. There we go. It is getting easier. The more rolled out it is, it's much easier to manage. There we go. And I keep turning it around. A, it makes sure that it's not sticking to the bottom. And B, it just makes sure that I don't get an oblong shape. There we go. Got a bit of funny bit going on the corner, which doesn't look so together. Are you measuring again, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. So then how are we doing now? 43. That looks pretty good. I think the other side's probably a bit more again.
It's always good to measure, otherwise if you didn't realise and you thought it was quite big, and it was about like 20 centimetres one side and about like 30 the other, then that will kind of go a bit wrong and it'll be a bit...
But can you see that it's a circle now, Erin?
Yeah.
It's quite a good circle, isn't it?
One more.
One more measure. think that's pretty good. We're at about 46 centimetres. 45.
And then
I'm all right with that.
44.
That'll be fine. So I'm just going to put a bit of corn flour on it, just so I can roll it up.
It will work about at
It's probably
44 or 46.
about a pound.
Fine.
You know, the side of it is like the depth of a pound coin. It's not mega thick. Probably could be a bit thinner, but it's okay. Right, now, I haven't actually got another pastry brush on me.
Do you want me to go get one?
That's all right, we'll use that one. We'll just dip it. So you don't want too much water. You just want to put enough water that it sticks together. And they're both wanting to stick. They're both sugary. So if you just give it a light brush. If you don't have a pastry brush, you could just get some kitchen towel and just dab it all on. That's fine for the top, Erin, so you just need to go around the sides. That's it. And you move it around?
Yep.
Ooh. Got it? Yeah?
Yeah, one more bit.
Yeah. Brilliant. There we go. And then we're going to do the same again. So you've got those. Smooth that side. So that you can just pop it down on the chair there. So again, I'm going to start on one side and roll it over. Give it a nice, what do you call it, Erin? My head's gone. Smooth. Smooth it out with your hand on top, and then hang on, Erin, not yet.
Sorry.
And then we're going to just go around the sides and just stop that on the edges from pulling down. And then gradually, remember those skirt bits, just pull them out slightly as you go. And just remember not to put the weight pushing down, go upwards, if anything, as you bring it in on the cake. And you can see, get a nice finish then. And then just keep going round. One more bit of skirt there. Sometimes you have to just play with it a bit, but it will do it. And then I'm going to just, once I've got it to a point that I'm not messing around with skirts, I'm just going to go round.
It looks like a skirt.
It does look like a skirt, doesn't it? You can see why they call it that.
Yeah.
Hang on, Erin. I know you like using that tool, but we're not there yet. I'm going to cut it first.
How can I do that?
So you can see, just like the warmth from my hands is just moulding that to the shape I want. You can go round. If you're worried about those edges cracking, just go up with one hand. Hang on, Erin, not yet. Up with one hand and kind of almost pinch it together. Like you're just taking the pressure off those sides. It looks like a snowman's face, doesn't it, already? We haven't done anything to it yet. I'm seeing those snowman shapes. Right, so again, I'm going to cut around it. I know that fondant is a bit springy, so I'm just going to give it a little bit more space around it, about half a centimetre to a centimetre around before doing my final smoothing. You can always trim round again, but you can't put it back. But we can hide things. So if you go, oh goodness, I've got a gap at the bottom, it's sprung up more than I thought, I'm going to cover it with a bit of ribbon or a bit of fondant, so you don't need to worry. Go on then, do your thing.
Trusty tool.
Got a bit of a fibre there. There you go. Do that. And then press down, Erin. So you don't need to, you don't need to take it away with this tool. You're just going to press down on it. See? Just press down, and then it makes it a bit thinner around the cake, and then we'll just cut round it again.
Yeah. It also helps if you push it down to see where you need to cut it again.
You can see on some bits, it's sprung up a bit, and on others, it needs cutting off a bit more. Okay? Okay, you good?
Yes.
Right, I'm just going to give it one more cut then. and just you can see it's got little areas where it's not sprung up so high. So just one more round.
And also because of the fondant, if you did have a massive crack, and if the what do you call it?
What? The marzipan.
The marzipan, and did solve it, but then it still had a bit of it showing, then the fondant will actually help more.
Exactly, the fondant hides everything. And if you do end up with a nick in your fondant or a crack or anything like that, it's Christmas cake, you know, and we're going to stick a load of things on that can hide it anyway. So it's just more important to have a bit of fun with this. Right, so we've got our cake covered. So it's a time to decorate. Oh, Erin, could you do me a favour, lovely? Could you go and get some of the IKEA bags and just pop in separate bags the white fondant and the marzipan for me? That would be amazing. Thank you, my little elf. So, in terms of decorations, I'll show you what I've got. I've got mostly fondant, but I want to do a hat for the snowman. I can't remember what colour hat the snowman in the film wears, but I've got a nice blue here, and I've got a pale blue. What do you reckon, pale blue or a darker blue? The pale? Is that nicer?
Sorry.
What do you think? What colour do you want?
I want them to comment.
I don't know if they're going to. I don't know. I think the pale blue might be a bit more wintry than the dark blue.
What do you guys think?
I think we'll do pale. Let's do pale. Right. So this time, because I can feel it's harder, I'm just going to give this a knead. And then what you're looking for is obviously about the size. I tend to do it just on the top of the cake. And I go about halfway and then turn up. Oh, France says pale and Marianne says pale. Yvonne says pale. They all say pale, Erin. I got it right. Thank you, guys. So yeah, I go about halfway, do a circle about the same size as the cake, and halfway down, and then I turn up to make like a rim of a hat. And then I tend to cut it a little bit with a knife to make it look like a bit of knitted detail. So this is going to be so much easier when it's softened. There we go. If you have the cake tin to hand, you could cut round the size of the cake tin to help you get a really nice circle. I might set my handy elf on that as well. Can you find the base of the cake tin so we can just use it as a template to cut? She's doing a grand job repacking things so they don't dry out. So you don't need this very thick because all we're doing is adding. Can you find a base, sweetheart? That'll do, actually. That'll do. That'll be fine. All we're doing is adding more fondant to the cake. Of course, you can take it off, but try to keep it a bit thinner if you can. Wonderful. We'll use that as a bit of a cheat so we don't have to think about it too much. Hang on. I know, it looks like it's been snowing on my jeans, doesn't it? Every time I've moved my hands.
You really are being Christmassy.
I'm very Christmassy today. So, do a bit more. Of course, you're going to earn a slice of this Christmas cake, that's for sure. There we go. What was another idea I found? If you wanted to do more of a 3D, like something up high on your Christmas cake, you could make chocolate Christmas trees. And you get a lollipop stick, and then you colour some chocolate green, and then you kind of flick it, like warm chocolate, melted chocolate. You flick it so it's small at the top, and then it gets wider at the bottom. And then you can stick a load of sprinkles to it, and they look like Christmas trees that you can poke in. So that was quite a sweet idea. Oh, there, nearly there. Again, to stick these on, just a little bit of water will be fine.
Perfecto. I think this means perfecto.
Do you think?
I think.
Okay.
Tell me if this means perfecto.
Right, okay. So I'm going to put that on there. Now, do you mind if I do the cutting out bit? Because I just wouldn't mind saving my worktop, if that's all right.
Why'd you say that?
Because you're Hulk-like with your strength. And I've just got a feeling my worktop wouldn't survive. There we go.
Pale, definitely.
Yeah, they all like the pale. Good choice. Right, so I've now got a circle that will fit about the same size. Fondant's nice and stretchy, so it's fine.
I shouldn't have cut.
It's fine because we only need about half of it. So I'm going to cut, it's just over half. Before I stick anything down, I'm just going to bring the cake over and see how it fits.
It's a cute spoon.
So I'm going to do it like that. I wonder if we can bring it up a bit.
Scattering.
So you've got the cake like that. It's slightly not quite wide enough, but you can bring it over. I've not stuck it down yet, so I can move it as much as I want. Hang on. I'm just going to put it up like that so they can see. And then, if you fold it over, like so,
like a woolly hat.
It looks like a woolly hat. Yeah? And then you can get the, like, if you use either the sharp edge or turn it around and use the blunt edge so it's just a bit more defined. And then put some lines in it. There we go. Woolly hat. Simple as that. If you want to get more elaborate and put a pom-pom on it, you can. Erin, do you want to stick it down? Just a little bit of water. If we get too much, it will run down all the fondant. So I'll move this, and you're going for about that kind of area. Okay. It doesn't need to be all of it, because it won't move, will it, when we're on? That's it. A bit more over there.
Here.
Perfect, thank you. And then we can lay that on. That's our woolly hat done. Right, so
next,
what are we going to add next? Eyes. What are we going to do? Are we going to do
fondant and chocolate buttons?
You want to do chocolate buttons or fondant?
Both.
Well,
because you can do a white and then you can.
Oh goodness me! I see. Okay. Well, we'll have to go get a couple of chocolate buttons then. If you're sticking anything on which isn't sticky, if that makes sense, you can use a bit of royal icing or a bit of melted chocolate to affix things to your. You're very noisy. You'll want white chocolate if you're doing dark chocolate eyes. Right. So I've got 2 bits, and all I'd say is before you put things on, just test them out, size-wise.
The white and then black inside.
Maybe we'll just do some black. What do you think? You can get inventive with this.
Does that look like
if you like that, it's your cake. I haven't got orange fondant. I could make some up, but I found some dried apricots. Oh, if I could open them. You like that?
Yeah.
So you can get a dried apricot and put that on. Well, I can stick it on with a bit of chocolate later, if needs be. And then maybe some sultanas or some fondant for a smile. So, which one? I've got some black fondant still, so I was just using a bit of that, if that's all right, Erin. Sorry for all the noise. She's rooting through, finding things. Just watch with your black fondant that when you get black on your hands, that you're not transferring that to the black of your that black stain to your cakes. So do wash your hands if you need to between the different colours, just to avoid that problem. And you can just add them like so. These all need sticking, so we will do that. I'm just conscious of time as well. You can just press them down and they might be soft enough to stick. Or be very careful dipping them into water because the colour will come out, so I probably wouldn't do that too much. Maybe, Erin, dip your pastry brush in and then dip these onto the pastry brush. That's all right, you're fine. There you go. No, it's fine. There. So we've got a smile, and then if you want to add a scarf, you can do, or you could add a ribbon. Do you know where the ribbons are? They're under the fondant printer. So you can make this as much your own. You could do it yourself or give the kids a load of decorations. Obviously you can decorate the hat, put some sprinkles on that, and just have fun. I mean, it's a Christmas cake and it's all about having fun and doing something that relaxes you and just feels Christmassy. In fact, you should really have a glass of mulled wine, I think, with this, or a hot chocolate. So what I will do, if you can't find the ribbon, I've got some red fondant. So I'll show you, if you're doing a ribbon, you can literally wrap that round, tie it in a bow, pin it, or just use a bit of icing, royal icing, to glue it around. Particularly if you have a narrow board, you could do that. Or get a bit of your fondant. I've got like a fistful really here, and then roll it out into a big sausage. Got a bit of black into that. There we go.
And if you wanted to do a bit more detail or something more to the face, then you could put like a pom-pom. You could
make a nice fluffy pom-pom, couldn't you? Texture it. Use some fine things in the kitchen to like give it a bit of texture.
Or do some like little patterns on your hat.
You could. Well, some people have those rolling pins that have patterns in and things. I don't have anything like that fancy. That could be good, couldn't it?
And also for the eyes, you could, like, I don't know, put some
eyelashes.
Yeah.
Bit of lipstick around the coal mouth. Make a Mrs. Snowman. What do you think?
Yeah.
If you've got
you could even try and make some stick hands coming out.
You could add some matchsticks, couldn't you? Not matchsticks, what are they called? Matchmakers.
Matchmakers, yeah.
So I've got some red fondant and it's already going quite far round, and I'm just going to flatten that. I'm going to move the cake out of the way just to give me a bit of room. Hang on, sweetie, because I'm running out of time. I'm going to quickly get this done.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you for being my helper today. You've been very good. So I'm just, as you're rolling this out, it's going to get longer, so it should cover your snowman. There we go. Or you can help me wrap this round in a second. Oh, do you think that's going to be long enough?
Yep, just one thing which we need to do.
You want to do the edges?
Yeah.
Go on then. You're going to make little cuts in the ends to make it look like the edge of a scarf.
Yep.
Sorted? Very good.
Hang on.
And that one? Got that one?
Yep.
There you go. And then again, a little bit of water around the base if you're going to do any kind of fondant work, just so it sticks.
By the way, if you're doing a scarf, then I would,
Okay.
What's it called?
That's fine.
I would say to do it a bit uneven, the lines.
Do you reckon? Make it look really authentic, so it's not moving. Right, and then I'm starting at the back.
And
get it about even. Start at the back, and then it should.
This is my edges.
Wrap round. There you go.
Uneven.
Oh, that's brilliant, Erin. That looks great. Wrap it round. Stick it as I go. There we go. I'm going to bring this down. Ta-da! There we go. Do you want to go and get the metal twirly thing that I decorated on and we can put it on there? There you go.
I don't know where it is.
It's in the workshop. Then we can lift it up. So you can see you've got some nice little detail there. Just keep that. Ooh, no. Keep that on the board if you can, or a few of it at least. There we go. And my little helper's back. There we go. Place it on there then. There. Oh, it doesn't want to stick there in that last bit. Let me just put a bit more water. And go stick there. Stick there. And then if you've got any corn flour left on there, you can brush it off.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I'm going to just have a look at that in a second. You can brush it off, and vodka as well works really well for getting off stains of corn flour and things if it won't come off with a little brush. So that's it. That's how you make your snowman Christmas cake. I hope you've enjoyed making it with us or watching us. You're very welcome, Yvonne. Merry Christmas to you too. Hope you all have a lovely time. So if you haven't watched if you haven't got a Christmas cake and you still want one, we do have a nice recipe to follow on Virtual Village Hall, so you can still make it and decorate it in time for Christmas. You've still got time. That's everything from us, isn't it? Any questions, anyone? It's all gone quiet. Or hopefully decorating a snowman Christmas cake.
Yeah.
You're very welcome, Donna. Thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in the new year. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everyone.
Christmas.
Bye. They do all the rest.